Hi, my name's Jada Sonica, and welcome to my playthrough of the game The Old City Leviathan. The leap. I already did the leap. I just leaped just now. Right off the edge of that. I don't know. Yo-faced Minotaur altar. Train tracks. Choo-choo! That way. 3.
We're almost there, Leviathan. The final step between me and the old city's upon us. I wish I could take you along.
More vibrantly colored soda cans. It's so wrong. Unless the person is crazy, which they're supposed to be. So, none of this is actually real, I bet. I bet I'm gonna end up at the end of the game, come out of subway thing.
Will you remember me? After all, I could never forget you. And how can I even begin to thank you for all that you've done for me? You protected me from a world that I was too weak to bear. But now the distant shores of another reality are calling me home. To something I've never seen before. A dangerous and unpredictable world lies ahead of me. But I'm ready to let loose the sails.
And then that giant flea thing was going to come and eat him. Right? Ooh, look at all this. Cool. It's all pointing that way, but I don't care. I want to go this way. It's the wall.
Here it is. The leap. Goodbye, my old friend.
Maybe I'm not ready to leave yet. Oh my. No, I'm not ready to leave yet. Thanks anyway. No. I haven't found out enough. I don't want to go beyond the wall and meet the White Walkers. Certainty. Deduction. This is actually quite pretty. It's funny, but what is it? Sharon Station. I wonder if that means something to anyone. I like looking at old parking lots and such. Can I go up this? No. At how nature has taken them back. It's something very satisfying to me about seeing how nature has taken back parking lots, and a blade of grass is stronger than concrete. Just want to sail or travel in style. Book your journey aboard the Escape. Yeah. That looks like a nightmare to me. Thank you, but no. All those people crowded together. No, thank you. It started when I was a child. I'm sure it started just after I began to ask questions. I asked them over and over until my poor parents were forced to resort to arbitrary certainties. Why, I asked. Why? Over and over. I wanted to regress until I hit a point where I said, "So," was the only acceptable answer. It was at that moment that a small moment of parental authority that I felt safe in the most bizarre and unfortunate turn of events. I fell downward into the acceptance of an end to regression. But the good was never perfect, was it? All I wanted was the good. I wanted to maintain my happiness, my contentment, even if it was born of a less than ideal perspective. But what is an ideal perspective, anyway? What is the perfection that I should have latched onto? It's just the fun of it, isn't it? It isn't real. It's a dream, my dear reader. The ideal was never real, and it was never within my grasp. To even attempt to research it would have destroyed my happiness. The child in me could not handle this, however, so I rejected the ideal. I wanted to remain safe, yes, and I did so until it happened. So what happened? So they reached the ideal? Ooh, I'm back into the dark.
My father once recited a poem to me about an older world. I believe it was called Dover Beach. I can still remember the imagery, just the words that escape me. We stood at the shoreline, waves crashing in, each wave eroding yet another piece of what I once believed. I think my father saw what was happening to me. He saw the dwindling of my dreams, the death of discovery. I could no longer rely on ABBA to build my dreams back up. Left with nothing, I convinced myself that there were no dreams.
So that must be the way I've been walking, right? I think. It happened. I fell. I began to defend my happiness with arbitrary walls made of certainty and realism. I created rules and structures that only had the effect of caging me in something entirely arbitrary. I did this all for the sake of happiness, yes, and as the others began to encroach on my cage, the dwellers with differing perspectives, I became more vigilant in my defense until I was villainous. I harmed anyone who dared challenge my sight. Of course, I was never a dweller. I never had their communal spirit, even from the start of the end. I was called a minotaur. That was simply due to my misanthropy, however, and it had hardly anything to do with my desire for the inland. Although it is true that their communal tendencies tend to make it difficult to break out of their cage, but I dare say it isn't impossible. I hate alliteration like that. Communal tendencies tend. I could have used a different word. It sounds redundant for some reason. At first I thought the inland was a farce. I had been told by the few other minotaurs that I'd seen that it was some sort of center for enlightenment amidst our fallen world. The dwellers who had spoken to me on the subject had a far less optimistic understanding. Then again, why would they need enlightenment when certainty already exists? Minotaurs have the advantage of being self-depreciatory. That is to say, when you have no true arrogance manifested in certainty, you latch on to any anchor you can find. It was the same for me, it seems, as I eventually adopted the notion that the inland held the answers. I also began to feel as though I had none. My desperation grew as I lost all sense of truth. I began to feel my sight fading, and the thoughts of suicide crept in. I had truly hit the bottom of the broken progression. This was an especially unfortunate place to begin, as it became impossible to see the upward tangent. The leap becomes obscured by void, and there doesn't appear to be any progression at all. These notes read like college textbooks that are pretentious just for the point of being pretentious. I mean, it's like, did they research how to word these sentences to make themselves sound erudite or something? It's like, really? They expected the people playing this game to be all like, oh, yes, I totally understand everything you're saying. Why would they leave books outside? Ooh, it's so dark. Ooh. It's a dark, scary cave. Ooh. Still doesn't explain why there's bullet holes in the doors. Let's see what these notes have to say. Everything changed, however, when I learned to use my dreams. I had always dreamed, of course, but the question was that of their usefulness, not their existence. I could not escape them, so the latter point was moot. Dreams have an incredibly powerful hold on one's perspective of reality, even if they have little to do with it themselves. After failing, my assumption was that the dreams existed to taunt me. They seemed to oddly contrast the ideal with the real. This made the real all the more depressing. But I do not believe that this is where the dreams have their use. Dreams act as impossible ideals that should never be fully grasped. Rather, they should serve only as a direction for progression. The dreams will never be realized in your lifetime, dear reader, but the real will change marginally. A marginal effect caused by a relatively small part of humanity. Your task is to bring the dreams to the real, even if the effect is marginal. One giant leap, reader. Abraham, they call me. At least that is the name I gave to the young dweller who asked me the other day. What irrelevant question. My name is as important as my status as an individual. Anyway, I could see the glimmer of pointlessness in his eyes. It is the driving force behind progression. If only he can accept the marginal nature of the progress. He must be able to remove his worth as an individual so that he may take his own leap for only a small reward. When meaning is deconstructed, the only driving force for progress is the acceptance of uncertainty. Dreams. The old city never offered enlightenment. On the contrary, it offers only further dreaming, and it is now time for me to take my leap. I wish more would come along. Maybe the game is telling me to take the leap instead of running around reading these things. Reading these pretentious notes. Take the leap, so I stop after read these notes that are making me run out of spit. I leap down this. Hey, I know where I am. Okay. So I'm gonna go take the leap now. I think I'm in the right... Am I going the right direction? I think so. See, like this concrete down here. I mean, this looks like ground. This is concrete. I love how if you look at an old concrete parking lot or whatever, tennis court, anything that's abandoned, how the concrete starts to crack and crumble with time, and you'll see blades of grass sticking up through the concrete. I think that's so profound somehow, that mankind builds things that they think, this is permanent, this is going to last, this is something. But a blade of grass is stronger than the concrete. It just seems so profound to me. Or like how nature is so much more powerful than we give nature credit for. Like this right here. We don't give nature credit. I've seen things like that so many times. I mean, I'll just be sitting, like, I remember being on vacation or whatever, and we'll pass by someplace, and especially like in the Midwest or out west, there were towns, and then they just kind of petered out. So I'm supposed to take the leap. Okie dokes. Winter is coming.